Part 16. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 151. Chapter 151. Do you need me to go there? Go home, go back to Chiao's house. Yes. Zhang Luli couldn't help but show a bit of worry in his eyes. Baby, do you need my help? I can talk to you. Zhang Luli also knows a little bit about Chiao Mianmian's terrible home. After witnessing her stepmother's fierceness and arrogance, Zhang Luli was not sure about letting her go back alone. No need, I can do it alone, don't worry, I have my own sense of discretion. Chiao Mianmian reached out and patted her shoulder, gave her a relieved expression, turned around and left in a hurry. Asterisk. After leaving the school gate, she hailed a taxi. On the way back, Chiao Mianmian thought about it and took out her mobile phone to call Mo Yesi. Outnumbered. Ever since she had a big fight with Chiao's father, Lin Huijin, she hasn't been back for a long time. In the past, when she returned home once a week, the Chiao family was already the home of Lin Huijin and her daughter. Adding in Chiao's father, it was a happy family of 3. It has nothing to do with her. This time it has been 2 full months since I last went home. I'm afraid that there will be no place for her in the Chiao family. Except for Mother Chen, everyone else is from Lin Huijin, mother and daughter. She would obviously suffer a loss if she went back alone, and there was nothing that could be done to stop her. Since she now has a rich and powerful husband, when it's time for him to support her, she has to let him help support her even if she is shameless. She would not be stupid enough to fight alone. The phone only rang once and the call was connected. Baby, did you miss me? The man's low and sultry voice reached her ears through the receiver of the mobile phone. It was rustling and full of magnetism. Mo Yesi, are you busy now? Chiao Mianmian opened the car window, took a deep breath, and said in one breath without waiting for him to say anything, I need your help. Sorry, I have to find something for you again, it's troublesome, but I really need your help this time. There was no impatience in the man's voice, but a hint of worry. Baby, where are you now, and what trouble are you in? I'm fine. Chiao Mianmian looked at the buildings passing by outside the car window. After hesitating for a few seconds, she said, I have to go home now, which may be a bit troublesome. So, I want to borrow some people from you. You don't need too many people, just 5 or 6 people. Last time, she had already seen the skills of Mo Yesi's bodyguards. One can definitely beat 3 or 4 ordinary people. Mo Yesi didn't even ask her what the matter was, and agreed to her, okay, I'll arrange for someone to go there right away. Baby, are you sure you are safe now? Do you need me to go there? Hearing the care and worry in his words, Chiao Mianmian's heart felt warm and sweet, and even the pent-up anger in her heart dissipated a lot. She raised her lips slightly and said, I'm safe, don't worry. Just go about your work and don't worry about me. I can handle those things myself. Mo Yesi was silent for a while, and then said again, okay, don't be pushy. If you can't solve it, just call me and I will go over and help you solve it. Baby, you are no longer alone, you still have me. No matter what happens, I will face it with you. Remember, your husband will always be the backend you can rely on and rely on. Your current identity is MRSMO, and no one can make you suffer. Whoever dares to have such courage, you should use your current identity to teach you a lesson them. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 152. Chapter 152, Even if you die, it's useless to care anymore. Chiao Mianmian clenched her phone, and another warm feeling passed through her heart. Her eyes filled with moisture, she sniffed, nodded and said, yeah. She suddenly felt that this accidental marriage that was not in her life plan was much better than expected. This accidental husband who was not in her life plan turned out to be much better than expected. It's good to have a husband who can help her unconditionally. Perhaps, she should really try to accept this marriage and him. Asterisk. An hour later, outside the gate of Chiao's villa. Before the Chiao family fell into decline, it could barely be considered a wealthy family. At least until Chiao Mian was 15 years old, they lived a privileged life as the daughter of a rich family. Although it has declined now and is far from what it used to be, a dead camel is still bigger than a horse. No matter what, the economic conditions are still much better than those of ordinary people. Today's Chiao family still lives in a villa, drives a luxury car, and supports a lot of servants. Chiao Ruhe is an extremely good-looking person, and he refuses to lower his living standards even if he is heavily in debt. As soon as Chiao Mian got out of the car, she saw Mother Chen. "Miss, you are finally back." As soon as Chen Ma saw her, she burst into tears. She stepped forward to hold her hand and cried, "Go in and take a look. The second lady and Mrs. Zhen are asking people to move Mrs. Zhen's things out. I'm just a Chiao family member, even a servant can't stop them. You are Madam's biological daughter and the eldest daughter of the Chiao family. If you stop her, they might still listen." After hearing what Chen Ma said, Chiao Mian showed a wry smile on her lips. Mother Chen is still too naive. In today's Chiao family, where is her place for Chiao Mian? She, the so-called eldest lady, has difficulty even controlling the servants below. How could Chiao Angzhen and her daughter take her words seriously? Especially since Chiao Angzhen is now a popular star and has become the most profitable person in the Chiao family. Even Chiao's father wants to support her. But no matter what, she couldn't let others live in Chiao's mother's room. This is her bottom line. As soon as she walked into the hall, Chiao Mian heard the movement upstairs. Looking up, I saw several movers moving a dressing table out. When she saw clearly that it was the dressing table used by Mother Chiao, her blood immediately surged, and she raised her legs and ran upstairs. Asterisk. Just when Chiao Mian walked into the hall, a servant went to report to Chiao Angzhen and Lin Huijin. "That little is back." As soon as Lin Huijin heard Chiao Mian's name, her face darkened, and she said with disgust in her eyes, "It must be that old lady Chen who tipped her off." Humph, she came back quite quickly. That little is now even she doesn't even care about her own father, but she does care about her mother. Chiao Angzhen, who was standing next to her, smiled softly and said gently, "You are dead, and it is useless to care anymore." Lin Huijin frowned and said coldly, "This girl must have come back to stop us. Her mother has been dead for so many years, and she still occupies such a good room and doesn't allow others to live in it." The master actually agreed. "I really don't know what he thinks." Chiao Angzhen smiled again, but her voice was light and cold. "Anyway, Aunt Su is his first wife. He may be thinking about the old relationship. However, no matter how much he misses the old relationship, he still agrees to us now. Free up the room." "Ha ha ha ha, I just went to Dobeo to grab something, so the update is a bit late." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 153. Chapter 153. You have to recognize the reality clearly. Mom, can she, a dead person, compete with us living people? Even her living daughter can't compete with me, let alone a dead person. I just want to let Chiao Mian see that all the things she cares about, I want to take away, just grab it. She doesn't have the qualifications or the ability to compete with me. The man she likes, the bedroom where her mother lived, and her status as the eldest daughter of the Chiao family, all of these will belong to me." The maid on the side listened to the conversation between mother and daughter without any surprised expression on her face. Now Chiao's house is entirely occupied by the mother and daughter. Everyone who was still loyal to Mother Chiao and Chiao Mian was dismissed by them. The reason why Mother Chen was able to stay was because she was a distant relative of Father Chiao and had taken his father for several years when he was young. It is impossible for Chiao's father to dismiss her because she still remembers her old relationship. My daughter is so outstanding, of course she deserves all the best things. Lin Huijin reached out to touch her daughter's head and said with a proud face, "You don't call it robbing, you just take back what should be yours. If it weren't for that marriage contract, how could the Su family like Chiao Mian? UNAs are talented and beautiful, a perfect match. Now UNAs are upright, and you are pregnant with his child again. It's time to find a time for the two families to meet and talk about this matter." Hearing the word pregnancy, Chiao Angzhen's eyes flashed with a strange color. She lowered her head and glanced at her still flat belly, gently covered it with one hand, and lowered her eyes to hide the abnormal emotions in her eyes. "Madam, the second lady, the eldest lady is back." While the mother and daughter were talking, the maid saw Chiao Mian walking towards them with a sullen face and angry eyes, and hurriedly reminded her. A second ago, Lin Huijin was still smiling. When she looked up and saw Chiao Mian, the smile on her face suddenly disappeared. His face suddenly turned cold. "Hey, who do I think she is? It turns out to be the eldest lady of our Chiao family. But now that I remember that I still have a family, I am willing to come back." Lin Huijin spoke with a strange sarcasm. Chiao Mian walked up to the two of them and stopped. She ignored Lin Huijin's harsh sarcasm and looked coldly at Chiao Angzhen, who was standing aside. She curled her lips and sneered, "Chiao Angzhen, I really underestimated your ability to be shameless. What's the matter? Being a mistress and destroying other people's relationships can't satisfy your dirty mind. What a shame, you still have to do something more to show how shameless and disgusting you are." Chiao Angzhen's expression suddenly changed. She wanted to get angry at the first moment, but when she saw Chiao Ruhe standing at the top of the stairs, she immediately turned into a weak and pitiful look, and said aggrievedly and innocently, "Sister, do you have any misunderstandings about me? I never thought about intervening in the relationship between you and Brother Ace. It was not because of you that you broke up. Brother Ace said that you always go out to film, and he and you can meet up to 3 or 4 times a month. Your thoughts are not on him at all, and he broke up with you because he couldn't bear to continue to get along with you like this. I can understand the pain of your broken love, but have you ever thought about why you and Brother Ace broke up with you after knowing each other for so many years, and we have already reached the stage of marriage? Sister, if you don't love me, you don't love me anymore. You have to recognize the reality." End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 154. Chapter 154. You are too willful. Chiao Angzhen looked weak and innocent on the surface, but there was a bit of a provocative smile in her eyes. At this time, a porter carried another piece of furniture out of Chiao's mother's room. Chiao Mian turned around and almost burst into anger. That was Mother Chiao's favorite screen during her lifetime. "Stop it!" Chiao Mian rushed to the mover, gritted her teeth and said angrily, "Put this screen back. No one is allowed to touch anything in this room without my permission." The porter was stunned for a moment, frowned, and looked at Lin Huijin and Chiao Angzhen in embarrassment. "Mrs. Lin, this. Don't listen to her." Lin Huijin sneered, "She lives on campus all year round and is not at home. What qualifications does she have to decide the affairs of this family? I have the final say in this family. Keep moving. You dare." Chiao Mian stopped at the door and said coldly, "This is my mother's room. No one except herself has the right to touch the things in this room." Lin Huijin looked at her with disdain and said, "The current homeowners are me and your dad. Let alone moving a bedroom, I have the right to decide what to do with everything here. And your dad also. I agreed to let an XIN move in. If you have any dissatisfaction, just go to him. After finishing speaking, Lin Huijin waved her hand towards the porter and said, "You continue." With her permission, the porter stretched out his hand to push Jiao Mian away, carried the screen and continued walking out. Jiao Mian reached out and grabbed the mover's arm. "Stop, you are not allowed to move my mother's things out." She just called Mo Yesi, and she didn't know when his people would arrive. At this moment, Jiao Mian was very happy that she made that call before. If she was the only one who came back, the result could be imagined. "Jiao Mian, you are too willful," Lin Huijin said with disgust on her face. "Angzan is pregnant with A's child. The fortune teller said that she must live in this room to give birth to the child safely. Otherwise, there is a risk of a tire slide. She is your sister. Even if she was not born from the same mother, she is still related to you. Are you trying to stop her from causing the child in her belly to abort?" Jiao Mian glared at the disgusting mother and daughter, sneered, and raised her lips. "What does her miscarriage have to do with me? It's okay not to want a child conceived through unfair means." As soon as he finished speaking, he heard an angry scolding. Mian, you have gone too far. How can you curse your sister like this?" Jiao Ruhe walked up from the stairs with a sullen face, a look of disappointment and anger. "Even if there is any conflict between you adults, that child is innocent. That is your nephew. You are cursing a child who is just 2 months old. Baby, are you too cruel? I thought you should realize your mistakes after being away from home for so long. I didn't expect you didn't change at all, and you became worse than before. Why are you like this now?" Jiao Ruhe seemed to be extremely angry. He coughed as he spoke and put a hand on his chest, looking like he couldn't breathe. "Master, calm down." Lin Huijin immediately reached out and patted his back. While patting him, she advised, "Your illness is just a little better, but you must pay attention to your health. If you are so angry that your body is broken, I will feel distressed." End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 155. Chapter 155. It seems like she is a plague god. "Yes, Dad, you have to take good care of yourself, otherwise, Mom and I will be worried about you." Jiao Ruhe looked at the mother and daughter whose faces were full of concern, and then looked at Jiao Mian who had a cold face and no concern in her eyes. She was so angry that she sneered, "Fortunately, I have you mother and daughter by my side. Apart from you, who else would care about me? It seems that I have raised a white-eyed wolf. If I had known that it was an unfamiliar person, I might as well have given it away as soon as possible. Even if you have a dog, you know how to repay the kindness of the owner. This daughter, who has been in love since she was a child, is not as sensible as an animal." Xiao Angzan felt secretly happy after hearing this, but she said with a kind face, "Dad, don't be angry. In fact, my sister also cares about you, she is just not good at expressing it. Look, isn't she coming back to see you?" Xiao Angzan deliberately said those words to irritate Jiao Mian after seeing Xiao's father just now. The purpose is to make Jiao Mian angry. The stronger and less sensible Jiao Mian behaves, the more sensible and well-behaved she can be made to look like. Father Jiao's disappointment and disgust towards Jiao Mian will only deepen. Of course Jiao Angzan knew that Jiao's father had loved Jiao Mian for so many years, and she could not completely destroy the relationship between father and daughter overnight. But as long as Jiao's father's dislike for Jiao Mian increases a little each time, over time, it will turn into complete disgust and disappointment. At that time, there will no longer be any concern about the relationship between father and daughter. With her advice, Jiao Ruhe's 5 points of anger turned into 8 points. He couldn't help but sneer and said, "Why is she coming back to see me? I don't think she cares about anyone except her mother." No. Lin Huijin also sneered and said, "Master, I think your daughter is hurting in vain. You have always treated her as your beloved and hurt her, but as for her, does she regard you as her father? You were sick some time ago. I called her to ask her to go home. Has she come back? At that time, Angzan was still rushing around to make announcements. As soon as I heard that you were sick, I flew back from abroad to see you the next day. Which of these two daughters is really good to you? You should think about it yourself. Xiao Rui's face was not very good to begin with. Hearing Lin Huijin mention this matter, her face darkened again. When she looked at Xiao Mian, the disappointment in her eyes deepened. You haven't been home for 2 whole months, and you are going to do this as soon as you come home. Are the chickens and dogs restless? Xiao Mian has long known that there is no place for her in this family. She has also known for a long time that the current Xiao Ruhe is not the current Xiao Ruhe. Now he only has Xiao Angzan and his daughter in his heart. They are his wife and daughters, and their family. And she? Just a white-eyed wolf who doesn't know how to repay his kindness. Even so, her heart was stung when she met Xiao Ruhe's eyes filled with anger and disappointment. Still inevitably feel a little sad. At this moment, she deeply and truly realized that there was really no place for her in this family. Her surname is Xiao, but no one in the Xiao family takes her seriously. Including Father Xiao, who once loved her the most. Xiao Ruhe's words were full of accusations and disgust, as if she was a plague god. As soon as she returned home, the family would be in a state of chaos. Xiao Mian looked at Xiao Angzan and Lin Huijin, who looked proud, and then looked at Xiao's father. The corners of her lips curled up sarcastically. It turns out that I have such a great ability, I can make this family's chickens and dogs restless. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 156. Chapter 156. You rebellious girl. It seems that my existence is really a mistake. I shouldn't have come back and disturbed your happy family of 3. Xiao Mian, Xiao Ruhe frowned. What the are you talking about? The corners of Xiao Mian's lips curled up again, and her smile became more sarcastic. Am I wrong? As soon as I came back, this family became restless. I really shouldn't come back. But do you think I am willing to come back? Do you like coming back? As she spoke, her voice gradually became colder and her eyes darkened. She looked coldly at Xiao Angzan aside. If someone hadn't planned to take over Mom's room, I really wouldn't be interested in coming back to this house. Dad, I don't care what you promised them, I will never allow Xiao Angzan to move in. Mom's room must remain as it is, and no one is allowed to move in. This is what you promised her personally. Are you going to regret it now? Xiao Ruhe's expression suddenly changed, becoming even uglier than before. He pursed his lips, and after a few seconds of silence, he said angrily, "Xin, this is a special situation. She will only stay here for a year, and she will move back when the child is born. Your mother was a kind person during her lifetime. A pleasant woman. If she is still here, she will definitely understand my approach. But you, Mian, when did you become so aggressive? Xin is not an outsider, she is your biological sister." Xiao Mian felt extremely ridiculous. No matter how considerate my mother is, she would not be willing to give up her room to a mistress's daughter. As for my biological sister. She looked at Xiao Angzan coldly, and sarcastically said word by word, I don't have the kind of sister who ruins my own sister's relationship by acting as a mistress. A pop sound. As soon as Xiao Mian finished speaking, she received a slap on the face. The slap was so powerful that it knocked her face to one side. The smell of blood filled the air between his lips and teeth. She was beaten until her ears buzzed and she suffered from tinnitus for a short period of time. 5 bright red fingerprints quickly appeared on her face. The fair and tender cheeks suddenly became swollen. Xiao Ruhe felt that it was not enough to relieve her anger, so she pointed at her nose and cursed, "You rebellious girl! Your Aunt Lin is your elder, your stepmother, and you actually said such rebellious words. How could I, Xiao Ruhe, raise such a useless person? Heartless daughter!" After this slap, both Lin Huijin and Xiao Angzhen were stunned for several seconds. Neither of them expected that Father Xiao would actually take action. After all, he still loves Xiao Mian very much and has never hit her since she was a child. This should be the first time you do it. After a moment of daze, Xiao Angzhen showed a happy smile on his face. Seeing Xiao Mian being beaten made her feel as happy as she wanted. Xiao Ruhe's slap directly knocked Xiao Mian into confusion. It took several seconds before she came back to her senses. With her ears still ringing and stars floating in front of her eyes, she covered the swollen half of her face and slowly turned her head. The eyes looked in disbelief and hurt at first, but after a while, they turned into cold mockery and indifference. Father Xiao originally felt a bit regretful about that slap. He was so angry just now. After the beating, my mind became much clearer. Since childhood, he has never beaten Xiao Mian. Although he now has Lin Huijin and his daughter, he does not love her as much as before, but the relationship between father and daughter for so many years is not gone. Just endure it for a day, and tomorrow you can torture this wonderful family. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 157. Chapter 157 Sister, even if I beg you. I just felt a little annoyed in my heart. When I met Xiao Mianmian's eyes full of indifference, the anger that had subsided a little was aroused again. Rebellious girl, he was so angry that he pointed at Xiao Mianmian's nose and cursed again, "What's that expression on your face? Do you still think I've wronged you? You don't even have the most basic respect for your elders. No family can teach you like this. It's really disgrace my Xiao family. Look at your sister, and then look at yourself, you are a total failure as a sister." "Dad, calm down, calm down." Xiao Angzhen stood behind Xiao Ruhe. When he raised his eyes to look at Xiao Mian, his eyes were full of pride and provocation. She stepped forward, stretched out her hand to support Xiao Ruhe, pretended to be well behaved, and whispered softly, "The doctor told you to take good care of your health. What will you do if you make yourself angry again?" "Sister, you are serious too?" She frowned, raised her head, and accused softly, "You know that Dad is not in good health and can't bear too much anger, but you still make him so angry. You can't say less. You have to let him get angry again before you are willing to do anything wrong. I know you are in a bad mood now. It doesn't matter if you scold me or hit me. But don't make Dad angry anymore. Sister, even if I beg you, please stop making trouble. Our family is safe and sensible." Lin Huijin pointedly said to Xiao Ruhe, "Master, these are all your daughters. You should know who is really good to you." Xiao Ruhe glanced at Xiao Angzhen happily, and when he turned his eyes to Xiao Mian, only disappointment and disgust remained. "As soon as you come back, this home will be in a mess. It's better for you to come back less often in the future. You Aunt Lin and an Xin are generous and don't care about what happened just now. I'm too lazy to say anything to you. Okay, you can go, I don't want to see you now." Xiao Mian covered her face and looked at the 3 people standing opposite her expressionlessly. Across the street, there is a happy family of 3. They are a real family. And she is just superfluous. This picture is really ironic. Sure enough, she should have known long ago that this place was no longer her home. In fact, she has always been aware of it. It's just that this time I feel it more profoundly than any other time. Sister, You should go back to school first, Jiao Angzhen said with a kind-hearted tone and gentle comfort. Dad is angry now, and all he says are angry words. Don't be too serious. Wait until he is angry. Now, you can still go back. Jiao Angzhen, shut up. Put away your hypocritical face, it makes me sick to my stomach. Jiao Mian was disgusted to death when she looked at her pretending to be sweet and sensible. Sister, you. Jiao Angzhen immediately pretended to be hurt, and her eyes turned red instantly as soon as she blinked. Master, look at what she has become in front of you. She can bully our mother and daughter like this when you are not here. She doesn't know how arrogant she is. You must believe what I told you before. In the years when an Angzhen and I first moved here, we were bullied by her a lot. If you don't take good care of your daughter, I'm afraid she won't even know how to deal with you. Take it seriously. Lin Huijin also wiped the corners of her eyes with her hand, looking quite aggrieved. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 158. Chapter 158. The little gets into trouble and goes home. Father Chiao turned livid with anger and glared at her. Is everything your Aunt Lin said true? Have you bullied her and an Xin before? Once you are disappointed to a certain extent, you will no longer feel disappointed. Similarly, if you are sad to a certain point, you will no longer feel sad or sad. Chiao Mian looked at Father Chiao, who was full of anger, and gently tugged the corner of her lower lip. Dad, why do you bother to ask again? You actually believe her words in your heart, don't you? In this case, let's just assume that I have done these things. Think about it, it's really ironic. She and Suzy have known each other for 10 years, but at the critical moment, he chose to trust Jiao Angzhen, whom he had known for less than 2 years. Now, Father Chiao has done the same thing. His question just now was not really asking her, he was waiting for her explanation. He has already determined that she has indeed done those things. He unconditionally believed in Lin Huijin, and he also unconditionally believed that she would do such a bad thing. Jiao Angzhen said that she failed as a person. At this moment, Jiao Mian had to admit that she had indeed failed as a person. Otherwise, why can't she even gain the trust of the people closest to her? Looking at her indifferent look, Father Chiao's anger rushed to the top of his head again, and he raised his hand to slap her face again. Just as he raised his hand, he suddenly heard a noise coming from downstairs. Who are you? Stop, you are trespassing on people's houses. Come quickly, stop them. Ah, what are you going to do? Stop, go and tell the master and madam that a stranger has broken in. The sounds of chaotic footsteps, women's screams, and other people's voices yelling and stopping. Various sounds mixed together, making a lot of noise downstairs. Chiao Ruhe was stunned and frowned. What happened downstairs? He asked. Jiao Angzhen's expression also changed slightly. She quickly walked to the railing and glanced at the living room downstairs. When she saw dozens of tall and burly men wearing black clothes and black trousers in the living room, her face couldn't help but change again. Master, madam, it's not good. At this time, a servant ran over panting, with a frightened expression on his face, and gasped. Suddenly, 30 men in black came, and they drove directly into the villa. Our people can't stop them at all. They are going to rush upstairs now, saying yes, saying yes. As the servant spoke, he glanced at Jiao Mian cautiously. Jiao Ruhe's face suddenly changed when he heard that dozens of people broke into his home. Say what? The servant glanced at Jiao Mian again and then said, he said he was here to see the eldest lady. As soon as he finished speaking, there were chaotic footsteps at the stairs. Jiao Ruhe turned around and saw a group of men in black walking up the stairs. Lin Huijin also saw the group of men in black, with an expression of shock and confusion on her face. These men in black are here to find Jiao Mian? Could it be that little Chiao Mian was messing around outside and caused some trouble when she got home? Lin Huijin felt that things were just as she had guessed. It's definitely the little who got into trouble and went home. She was about to reprimand Chiao Mian when she saw the group of men in black approaching Chiao Mian. The leader of the group of men in black actually bowed to her. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 159. Chapter 159. Miss Jiao, I'm sorry we're late. Then he said very respectfully, Miss Jiao, I'm sorry that we are late. Is there anything we need to do for you here? As soon as the man in black made this move, everyone present except Chiao Mian was shocked. Lin Huijin's eyes widened with shock on her face. Chiao Ruhei also looked extremely surprised. Not to mention Chiao Angzan, first he was surprised and stunned, and then his face turned ugly. Who are these men in black? Why are they so respectful to Chiao Mian? Could it be that they were the noble and distinguished man who called them to support Chiao Mian? Chiao Angzan suddenly remembered that Shen Yuyu had asked Du Ziyi to go to school to trouble Chiao Mian, and a group of men in black appeared to support Chiao Mian. The final result was that both Du Ziyi and Shen Yuyu were taught a terrible lesson. I heard that the two of them are still being held in the police station. Thinking of this, Chiao Angzan's face darkened again. If it was really the person the man called, it meant that he really cared about Chiao Mian now. And the mysterious man who can make Du's enterprise bankrupt overnight is definitely capable of dealing with the Chiao family. She just hopes that the man is not as powerful as the Su family. Otherwise, wouldn't Chiao Mian still be able to pressure her in the future? You, who are you? Lin Huijin originally thought it was Chiao Mian who had caused trouble and came home. Who knew that these people were so respectful to her, as if they were the helpers she called for? The child exploded. She yelled angrily, "This is a private residence. You broke in without permission. You are breaking the law. I'm going to call the police and let the police come and arrest you. Master, call someone to drive them away quickly." Chiao Ruhei was stunned for a few seconds, then came to his senses, frowned deeply, and said with a gloomy face, "Who are you? Mian, do you know them?" "Of course we know each other." Before Chiao Mian said anything, Lin Huijin gritted her teeth and sneered, "Master, your daughter is really getting more and more promising. What does she mean? She called so many people over when she went home. Is this talking to us? Demonstration, they still want to threaten us." Dozens of men in black. There were people standing upstairs and downstairs. At a glance, it was a dark group of people. And each of them is at least 1.8 meters tall. They look tough and strong, and they look like ruthless characters. Don't say that the bunch of servants in Chiaozai will be scared. Even Chiao Ruhei felt a little afraid when he saw it. Is this true? Chiao Ruhei didn't dare to look at the man in black leading him. He only said to Chiao Mian with a cold face, "You called these people here? What do you want to do? Destroy your home? Or do you want these people to attack you?" Chiao Mian looked at him calmly, and her voice was also very calm, "I don't want to do anything, but if someone insists on forcing me, don't blame me for turning my back on them." "Rebellious girl, are you threatening your father?" Chiao Ruhei was so angry that veins popped out on his forehead. Chiao Mian had a very calm expression on her face, and her tone was as calm as ever, but there was a hint of toughness and strength in this calmness. "Mom's room remains as it is, no one is allowed to move in." Chiao Mian turned her gaze to Chiao Angzan, whose face was ashen, and said clearly and clearly, word by word, "This is my only request. I don't care what the fortune teller said, it's your business, not mine or my mother's relation. What, your Mr. Mo will come out tomorrow and he will spoil his wife, slap her in the face and abuse her? Don't look forward to it. Ha ha ha. Please vote for recommendations and 5-star reviews. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 160. Chapter 160. Why should I listen to you? If you insist on doing things to perfection, don't blame me for doing the same. Chiao Mian, what do you mean? Lin Huijin raised her voice and screamed like an old hen being strangled by the neck. Are you going to use violence against your elders and relatives? If an Xin must move in, what are you going to do? Are you going to ask these people to beat her? Huh? Chiao Mian looked at her with cold eyes, jumping and shouting like a clown. The corners of her lips slowly raised, and she sneered, hit her? Of course not. I will just have her thrown out. Lin Huijin was stunned and gritted her teeth angrily. You dare. You can try it if you dare. After Chiao Mian finished speaking, she turned around and ordered the bodyguards on the side, stay here. If those two women step into this bedroom, throw them out. The leading bodyguard responded respectfully, yes. Then he immediately ordered a few bodyguards to stand guard at the door of Mother Chiao's bedroom. Seeing this, Lin Huijin and Chiao Angzhen looked extremely ugly. Besides, Chiao Mian pointed at a dressing table placed in the bedroom, and said coldly, word by word, take that dressing table out and throw it away. Take away all the things piled at the door and throw them away. These furnitures all belong to Chiao Angzhen. Yes, Miss Chiao. The bodyguard was very efficient and immediately ordered people to go in and carry the furniture. Several bodyguards lifted the dressing table, walked to the window, and threw it downstairs. Stop it. When Chiao Angzhen saw this scene, she was so angry that she even forgot to disguise her weak and timid persona. She turned around, gritted her teeth and looked at Chiao Mian, and said angrily, sister, you are that's too much. What right do you have to do this? Ah! Chiao Mian sneered, am I going too far? No matter how much I go overboard, I will never rob my sister's man, let alone maliciously occupy this bedroom that has special meaning to her. Chiao Angzhen, you have done all the bad things, you have. Who are you to say that others are too much? At this time, the bodyguards had already thrown all Chiao Angzhen's furniture downstairs. After finishing all this, several bodyguards walked up to Chiao Mian, bowed to her first, and then said respectfully, Miss Chiao, the furniture has been thrown out, do you have any other orders? Chiao Mian squinted her eyes, and her cold gaze fell on Chiao Angzhen's face that was deformed by anger. Chiao Angzhen, please have the furniture moved out of my mother's bedroom be returned to its original place one by one right now. Bit. I won't argue with you about this matter. Chiao Angzhen was so angry that she gritted her teeth and growled at her, who do you think you are? Why should I listen to you? Chiao Mian was not angry either. She raised the corners of her lips and said slowly, in this case, I will have to have your bedroom smashed up again. As she spoke, she ordered the bodyguards, Miss Chiao's second daughter's bedroom is in the third room on the corridor on the second floor. Please bring a few more people to help her clean it up for free. The bodyguard responded immediately, yes. You guys stop here. Someone, stop them. Lin Huijin was so angry that her face turned green, and she screamed angrily at the top of her lungs, Chiao Mian, you are too arrogant. The Chiao family is not a place where you can act as a mischief. I will fulfill my responsibilities as an elder today, be good, teach you a lesson. End of this chapter.